Hi, Jarvis. That was beautiful. Thank you for that beautiful embodied meditation, um, brother. That was a wonderful way to conclude. Um, and here we are in the gallery. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for that. And we're going to get into it because we are going to get into this engagement session. Weren't they fantastic speakers? Brilliant lineup of speakers, beautifully presented, and then a wonderful to conclude with you two. So, Lauren, Jarvis, I'll get the Mentimeter ready. We're going to have another word cloud as we get ready to go into the breakout. So, and then you're going to take us into the breakouts, and then we'll have another engagement after that. So, over to you two.
Great. I'm unmuted. Lauren, may I hand to you first?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ben, for bringing us over here and getting the engagement kick started here. I think we're waiting for that Mentimeter to be put up. Is that the next step?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining. Those of you that are here. What we wanted to do is obviously using the Mentimeter because it's a great piece of technology. Ask you all to engage in that, but we are going to be having breakout rooms, and there are going to be various questions for the breakout rooms that will obviously come up on the screen as you go into your breakout room. So, Lauren, that's how I understand it. Is that correct?
That was my understanding too. Yeah. Do we want to take them?
Just quickly, the questions won't be on the screen, but
okay.
The reporting will be done through Mentimeter. But we're going to go into the breakouts, Jarvis, with the questions that you'd ask people to share with each other. And so if you just want to give people the questions in advance, and then you'll be spun into randomly generated rooms of 3, 4, or 5 people. And then we'll be in there for about 12 minutes. Becky, and then we're going to come back and we're going to use the Mentimeter to report on what the outcome of the Mentimeter of the breakouts were. So, Jarvis and Lauren, what do you want people when we go into the breakouts? There's an opportunity for everybody to share their expressions, what they've taken, their sacred mission. What's the thing you want people to be discussing in the breakouts when they go in?
Yeah, I just put those in the chat for everybody so they can read them. But the first question is, how might humanity live the essence of some of the core messages that came in through the speakers, and what frequencies or words are missing, if any? Just lost my screen. Moved it over. Let me see. And then the second question was, what needs to change for it to happen? And how might that occur in society, in our society, in a micro or a macro level? What examples are in play? For example, new leadership, shift in consciousness, humanity to come together, and being living the change. And then the third question is, if you have the time, what do you see as your particular sacred mission in the world? And I'll keep putting those in the chat as it sort of scrolls, just to make it easier for folks.
So it's my understanding that each breakout room will focus on each singular question, right, Ben?
Yeah, so that's right. So when we go into the breakouts, how might humanity live the essence of those words we saw, that love and consciousness and all the beautiful words that were just expressed? What might be missing? And then this question is great. You know, what needs to change for it to happen? And what might that occur? Now, when you go into the breakouts, if everyone can just self-organize, speak for a couple of minutes each and listen to each other, and then you'll get an opportunity to report back through the reporting tool, everything that you've discussed together in those small groups. So again, the question, Jarvis and Lauren, you really want people to answer is, how can we live up to these beautiful ideals? How can we live up to these beautiful essences of what we've experienced so far? And what are some things we might be missing? And also what change needs to happen for us to close that gap? So that's the topic of the conversation. And then you'll all get a chance to share some of your experiences on the other side of the breakouts. We'll be in for 12 minutes. You'll be in groups of 3, 4, or 5. So make sure everybody gets a chance to share what is it that we need to do to live up to these beautiful sharings of humanity's sacred mission, and what needs to happen? How do we? What needs to happen on a micro and a macro level for us to get there? And then you'll have the chance to report on the other side.
Yeah, thank you for that, Ben. Thank you. So the invitation for the first breakout group is really for one person to speak and really, really share, and for the other two people in the group just to listen, not to get into a conversation about it, but just to deeply, deeply, deeply listen to what your soul brother or sister is sharing, and then after a minute or two, and then you swap around. So that's the invitation for this first breakout group. I hope it's clear. I think it's pretty clear because Ben just nicely nailed it for us. So off we go to the breakout room. See you on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you.
But while people are in the breakouts, Jarvis and Lauren, why don't we have a go? We're still broadcasting. Why don't we have a go at answering this question ourselves? So how can we live up to the essence of of the words that stood out from that word cloud? Lauren, why don't you kick us off? What do you think?
And the first thing that comes to mind is love, recognizing that was the largest word. For those that aren't familiar with how the Mentimeter works, the word that is mentioned the most grows the largest. And as we saw, at least in the last version, love was at the center, and it was indeed the largest. And so, I feel like our inner work is always the most important. And if we can remember to start there and move from that place of love, with that intention, I think that things have a very good chance of working out.
Yeah, beautiful. Love was at the center, wasn't it? Big and at the center, Jarvis. What were your reflections from that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the words that really stood out for me was love and unity, and I think that there's been a manipulation of this word love, through the Hollywood model of love and through Greek tragedy and, all these kind of conceptual ideas. But the true essence of love, we all know it. We all feel it. If we can share it, certainly, if not always in human relationship, but certainly in the relationship with nature, then of course that always starts with self. So, it's a very, very beautiful, abundant, powerful thing, love. So it's so lovely to see that love was the strong word. But I do believe that we incarnated into this world, into this dimension, into this reality, and wanted to experience ourselves in relationship with Gaia, with Mother Nature, so we could actually get to know love by our outside experience. I feel like we know love already within, and we've come here to experience it in relationship with others. And that's a magical thing. That's a really wonderful playground. And maybe we are experiencing ourselves right now, perhaps as a species or as a game, which I like to look at it a bit more in fun, is that maybe we've pushed ourselves so far away from it that when we come back to it in unity, in togetherness, in co-creativeness, when we remember that we are all connected and there is no such thing as separation, and when we realign with our natural world and the balance and then the universe, that we might actually offer streams of consciousness that actually help the whole system to evolve, to upgrade, to upshift. Because we've gone so far away, and all we've ever done is try to be love and try to experience ourselves of love, but often through this thing we call pain, or through this thing we call hurt, or through this thing we call disconnection. And perhaps that's where the greatest, most insightful wisdom and sharings have come from. So that's why, to me, it feels like this is a monumental, magical opportunity for us to remember, to awaken those cells within us that already communicate with each other through the culture that lives in our microbiome in our stomach and in our energy and in everything else. And if we can perhaps just allow ourselves to remember and awaken and perhaps get the little bit of the I out of the way so we can become we, then we will begin to feel that vibration and actually transform this crazy world that we're living in into letting it reform itself in a different way. Because we know this one's not working. So what have we got to lose?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Jarvis. That was beautiful. And thank you, Lauren, for presencing the heart of all of that. So how might humanity live the essence of the words? Well, I think you've both shared delightfully, and it's an incredible challenge. I think that we've seen and heard, I think, quite a lot of spiritual wisdom here as well, that it does take that level of personal transformation. There are so many tools. I mean, we're blessed to be born in an era like this where we have access to all the world's great wisdom traditions and lineages and religious faith-based traditions, indigenous perspectives and wisdom traditions. We really have such an extraordinary opportunity to engage with every possible aspect of human wisdom, culture, and tradition. And so I think part of that, the challenge is there's so much, is that, sometimes it's hard for people to kind of like find something and stick to it in a way that actually ends up being transformative. We try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. It's kind of fun. But I think that those wisdom traditions, the indigenous wisdom traditions and the faith-based traditions and emerging spiritual wisdom has so much to give us and offer us and guide us on this journey. I mean, it's not an easy task. I think you said before, Jarvis, and we can all relate to it, that it's often in our adversity that we grow the most. When things happen that we probably don't want to happen to us, but in those situations that we grow the most. But in order to really come through that, we need to be able to draw upon those resources. And yes, within us is the infinite resources. And also sometimes we need some scaffolding and some things to be able to borrow and get us through from one stage to the next. And so I think that in the community that we're being a part of here is a tremendous resource in being able to draw on each other for solace, and for consolation and for inspiration and for, when we're down, to be picked up. And that's love in action, right? So I think that's definitely a big part of humanity's sacred mission, is basically looking after each other, right, and taking care of each other as much as we can. So let's the next question that you guys had so beautifully proposed here, and we're going to be answering this one in detail through the responses, which is what needs to change for it to happen. So what's got to happen in our society on a micro or a macro level? Love to hear your thoughts on that, Lauren. What's got to happen? What's got to change now on a macro level, micro level for this to take place and to unfold?
I mean, I think it really still goes back to the same point of what we were talking about. If we remember the truth of who we are and what we're capable of, and remember to start there first and move out from that place, that takes care of a lot of the issues that we're encountering, in my experience. And the second part is, and I see this every day as I talk to the people who are doing this sort of work, when we tune in and really pay attention to those things that make us come alive, understanding, you talk about a sacred mission, understanding that that's no accident. There's a reason you are here, and each and every one of us plays a role, an important role. So if we start with tuning in and understanding, I have a mission here that's very important. What is it, and how do I find it? And the way that I have found it is to pay attention to those places where I feel I come alive, where I feel I can make a meaningful contribution. And I just want to encourage everyone who's here listening, if maybe they feel they don't feel they can make a difference. I know sometimes the world feels overwhelming, which is why I wanted to point to all the people who are doing incredible work all over the world, as they are, and the speakers here and many, many, many others that we're talking to on a daily basis. It's not what we hear every day when we tune in, wherever we tune in. But if we tune into ourselves, into our heart, and remember and ask the question, how may I serve? On what level will be shown, and trust that I feel that we will begin to see the change happen. And, frankly, I see it every day as people show up, tuning in, creating synergy, watching the synchronicity, taking that next step. And remembering also, it doesn't have to be linear, and it often is not, which also can sort of be disheartening for folks if they're feeling like it's going to take so long, it's going to be so hard, it's step 1, 2 to 10. It actually isn't when we work in this field and in this way. So, I feel like that would be a big step in the right direction.
Beautiful. It's great to see it happening too, isn't it? And sort of feel it and experience it. And we've got a long way to go, but you can feel that happening. Jarvis, we've got a minute left of the breakouts. It'll be fascinating to see what people are going to report. What are your thoughts, brother, on what needs to change?
Yeah, and for me, I like to keep things simple because I think I'm quite a simple person, and the way I was trained was simplicity seems to be the better of consciousness. But for me, that word that you used about the indigenous, it strikes me that every single human being on the planet is indigenous. The problem is that we've forgotten our indigenous sacred ways. We've been born into a system that has given us an addiction to the outside world and an addiction to, a lifestyle and an economy that is now we're seeing is potentially wrecking and causing havoc with our, divine planet that supports us. So it's awakening the memory within, and I think it's the easiest thing to do because it's a truth. So how do we do that? It's, as Lauren has said, by asking the questions: what is my purpose? Why did I choose to incarnate into this world at this time when it seems to be the most chaotic time ever? Maybe I've got something to add. So if we can remember what we're brilliant at or what we love doing, and then offer that to the awakening of the sacred mission within ourselves and within others, then even if we do all go out, we'll go out in joy doing what we love and what we're brilliant at. But it's very unlikely that we will.
Beautiful. Love it, Jarvis. Thank you, and Lauren. And I think the breakouts are closing and people are coming back into the room. So
yay.
Lauren and Jarvis, you want to welcome them back, and we'll get the next Mentimeter up.
Yes. Welcome back, everybody. And maybe, Ben, you could give me a thumbs up when we know that everybody is back in. I hope that your session, firstly, was enriching, because really to be able to speak out what is you're feeling inside and for others to listen is a wonderful gift for the listeners and a wonderful gift for the speakers. So the reason we did that is because what we wanted to do is just to work out whether your immediate response was still the same after contemplation and actually speaking out the words. And as we know, the words have the power to manifest. And with Ervin's work and Jude's work and many others that are converging science and spirituality, we know that actually the information that is conscious creates the reality that we live in. So if we can change the building blocks of the information, then we will actually create a different experience on the outside world. That seems to be how it works. So well done, magical. So are we moving to question 3 now? And this is a question. Oh, yes, great.
We're going to do question 2. Yeah, good question 2, and then we'll go straight.
Sorry, I thought we did 1 and 2 before. So we're going to question 2. My apologies. And this is the question in front of us. How might humanity live the essence of the love, the unity, the hollow movement, all those amazing words that came up in the word cloud? And what, if any, frequencies or words could be missing now you've had a chance to express yourself and, if you like, put the feeling state of your beingness into manifestation by saying those words? Is there anything missing? What is it that's missing? And what other frequencies might you add, or words might you add? Courage, fantastic. Love that. That's just popped up on the screen. So we're presumably in Mentimeter mode now. So please add anything else or build on the words that you've already used. Or if it was as simple as love and unity, then please add those again. We're not asking you necessarily to come back with different words. We're just really asking to whether things have evolved through the exploration of the listening and talking. So it looks as if, so courage is a really interesting one. Alignment, fantastic. I totally agree with that. Compassion. Yes, we definitely need that in the world at the moment with everything that's going on. Partnership with nature. So they all seem to, living, loving universe. Practice stewardship. Love that. Respect for diversity. Sacrifice, coherence, trust. So living, loving universe seems to be our power mantra, or if you like, our central sun in this word cloud. Listening and compassion are close supporters to living, loving universe, which is amazing. Let's see how this evolves. We've also got words coming into the chat for those that aren't on the Mentimeter. We've got connection. Oh, we've got all kinds of stuff. Consciousness, engagement, act, integration, transparency, collaboration. Those of you that are in the chat, if you, maybe we could share the Mentimeter link again. And if anybody would like to add to there we go. So you can click on that and you can add your words, your frequencies, your vibrations, your sense of beingness through the intellect of words into the Mentimeter, and it will continue to grow this reality. Because I believe that if we are putting the intention from our connection within, if we're putting that into the outside, then we are collectively manifesting that. And we all know the power of co-creation. So we're still really, really supported by deep listening, by prayer, music. Yes, I'm a singer-songwriter, for many of you that don't know. I'm still a signed recording artist. And I've just produced a track called Save the World that's raising money for Greta Thunberg's Fridays for Future's MAPPA movement. So anybody that's listening, if you've got Spotify or any of those membership music systems that we use, please go and into your system and save a track called Save the World by Jarvis Smith, and just play it as much as you can, because every time it gets played, 100% of that money is donated to the most affected people and areas through the Fridays for Futures movement. So we've still got, now this is nice because it's evolving beautifully, but we still have a collective central theme of deep listening, of living, loving universe, of co-creation. And then it's surrounded by divine connection, by presence, by empathy, stillness, courage, dance. Yes.
It's great, Jarvis. I want to bring Lauren in here just for a moment to see, Lauren, what are you picking up here, Lauren, in this beautiful creation?
Thank you, Ben. Yes, some of the work, I love all of them, though. It's just amazing how many. Presence, deep listening, forgiveness, empathy, prayer. Prayer seems to be growing, which is really beautiful to see for me. Healing, non-locality, stillness, divine connection, and dialogue seems to be growing as well. Co-creation. Dance again. Dance is growing. That's my favorite. It's like nothing's wrong in the world when you're dancing. Right? Am I right?
You are. Joy popped right into the center there when you said that.
There you go.
I mean, this is amazing because this is actually, this is a visual example of how our thoughts create, right? This is brilliant.
Yeah, there's one more question, which people are going to have a little bit more chance to write a little bit more, which is what they experienced in the breakout about what needs to change on the macro and micro level for us in order to. And by the way, I saw Ervin Laszlo has joined us here in the participants room. So we want to welcome you, Ervin. It's great that you made it in. We definitely want to hear from you before we close today. But shall we go, Jarvis and Lauren, to the next question, where people will have a little bit more opportunity to share their thoughts and what they heard and what they shared in the breakouts.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do it. All right. So what needs to change for it to happen? It to happen, the shift, the consciousness rising, the humanity's sacred mission being fulfilled. How might that occur in a society, micro and macro level, local, global? What examples? There are some examples that they put in there, like new leadership, shift in consciousness, greater unity. We've sort of some prompts there, but we really want to hear as we go to this next question. It's the same. It's if you go to next question, it should actually refresh for you. But if you go to the QR code again, and you can already see people are starting to fill this in. It's the same link in the chat, but I will put it back in again just so it's top of there for everybody. And let's just spend 3 minutes. Let's just spend 3 minutes, filling this in together and see what emerges. Then we can reflect on it. It was such a beautiful word cloud. This one will be a little different in the sense that it's going to be a few more of a phrase that's coming in. And Lauren and Jarvis, feel free to call out what you see coming in.
Will do. Let's give everyone some time to.
Embodied awe. I like the sound of that.
Ben, I don't know if we're seeing the word cloud appear on the shared
No, I'm
screen.
seeing the sentences.
This is not so much a word cloud as phrases. It's phrases.
It comes up as phrases. Okay, got it.
This is open-ended. And then when we, in a minute, we can group the responses and see what the AI does with it.
Got it. So we're seeing here, gosh, there's some amazing stuff. Restore Indigenous Wisdom has just come up in the chat. Love and More Love in capitals. That's a sung, shouted version of that. I love that. Work with shadow. Oh, yeah. Trust. I think that's a really, really good one because it's quite tricky to trust, isn't it, in the world that is a bit challenging at the moment. But actually, if we can increase the vibration of trust, then that will obviously expand into consciousness for everybody. So, yeah, love that. Invitation to nature, invitation from nature. Model what we want to see. Yeah, Gandhian phrase, be the change we want to see in the world. I love that mantra. I don't think that we need to recreate any more mantras. That's the one.
Yes. Beautiful wisdom.
Embodying the sacred. Love that. I guess understanding more the sacred, because perhaps we are already the embodiment of sacred, just to challenge that a little bit, but maybe understanding it or getting to know it more. So I guess that's the same thing as embodying it, right? Living it. For me to engage, to listen to others so we emerge in the dance. Yeah, I'd like to share a little story just while you're doing this. So when I connected with nature, Mother Nature, about the climate crisis, and I'm constantly doing that nearly every day, what she just keeps telling me is that this is, firstly, do you think I'm calling this a crisis, which is one of the things she said to me. So that made me laugh. And then she said that, perhaps if humanity will at the very least, just wake up to living in gratitude for everything that I've given you, for you to create your, profitable businesses and for you to thrive and et cetera, et cetera. If you could just unify in gratitude and praise for what I've been able to do as your support system, then I can turn this thing around miraculously. I have the power and the ability to shift what you're calling a crisis into something else very quickly, but it will require co-participation, co-creation. And that starts with gratitude and appreciation for everything that I've given to you. So I thought that was a beautiful message from the earth. So just sharing that, maybe this thing that we're calling a crisis is actually just a very simple opportunity to have our shamanic awakening en masse together collectively, so that when we all evolve, we all come out of it with the wisdom of knowing and being and connecting. So what else have we got? Love and peace. Yeah, love that.
Well, there's a lot of wisdom of knowing and being and connecting here, right here in this responses, Jarvis and Lauren.
This is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And, we may, this is incredible. So if I push space, we'll see what the AI does in terms of putting it into categories.
So it's going to pull it all together. Got it. So it's sorting the circles from the squares, it says.
Right.
Okay. So the biggest, there's four that are completely very close to each other. Creative expression, trust, conscious.
Go into the creative expression ones. Yeah.
Got it. Wow.
And then trust. Trust is big.
Trust is big
one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So how do we cultivate trust? That would be a good question for us to ask ourselves. Cultivating trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a very important question. Go ahead, Lauren. I think that's a very important question to ask and cultivate trust. And I'm hearing it in a lot of different places, and now we're seeing it here.
Divine alignment.
Nature
connection is really strong.
Yeah, that's been my gateway to trusting, is having that connection with nature, which is innate in all of us. We've just been ripped away from it by a system that's been trying to tell us that money makes the world go round, when we know that's a lie.
Well, interesting. Economic transition is got a whole theme too as well. So
yeah,
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's really magical. Really magical. Great harvesting tool.
10 different ones found. So we'll go back. We'll stop it there. That was really, really special, and seeing all the different expressions. We hope that people really enjoyed being in the breakout groups, and